This is a quick and skinny review of the movie Violent Night. Hopefully we'll get time to edit this before Christmas, since I seen it pretty much the weekend before Christmas, if at the time of posting this video. But I've been kind of busy, so I hope that no later than New Year's I get it. But if not, it is what it is. So this movie that stars David Harbour has John Leguizamo in it, who has lately been on this weird rampage rant about blind casting because he got to play Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers movie. But that's weird because the trend right now is you have to play the thing that you already are, which is odd because that's not acting, that's you playing yourself. But okay, I digress. The movie itself is actually pretty fun. It's a movie that is up there for me like Santa's Sleigh. I don't know if you ever heard of this. Maybe I'll start doing holiday reviews on like a movie or something. But Santa's Sleigh, a friend of mine introduced this movie to me about maybe 10 years ago. That I did, maybe a little longer ago. It was probably like more like 15 years ago. That it's starring Goldberg as a killer Santa. Has actually a pretty fun backstory. It actually has a fulfilling story about why Santa is wicked and all this other stuff. And I show it to everybody I know when they've never heard of it. It's a really good movie. Very underrated Christmas movie. So I like when it's a good story. Doesn't have to be nothing crazy, but just a good, fun story with Santa, whether he's the good guy or the bad guy. And something a little more than just a wholesome family content. Nothing wrong with it. It has its place. I mean, heck, I watch A Christmas Story every year. I didn't get the chance to watch the new one. I've watched Christmas Story 1, Christmas Story 2, the official one, because there is this weird summer one that floats out there that I don't think is a part of it. But I haven't gotten to watch the new one where he grew up. I wanted to. I've just been too busy. So, anyway, this movie is very fun. And the cool part about it is it has this Die Hard feel. But it also has, it's like a hodgepodge of movies, but it works for this Violent Night. So one of the things that makes it so cool is that it has Santa in a very, like, certain place. Now, before I go into it, there is going to be some light spoiler. It's more of an overview. I'm not really going to go that deep into detail, but it's more of an overview, but if the trailer, you haven't seen it or it doesn't give you enough, I'm giving you some slight details. So this is your spoiler warning. So Santa is kind of in a depressed state because of just the way the world is working. So what happens is that there is this hilarious scene that you see him in a bar. And when you see the situation and what happens afterwards, it's hilarious. Now, you have that part, right? Because he's supposed to be doing his job. Then you have the family dynamic that legitimately feels like the start of a regular, run-of-the-mill, happy-go-lucky Christmas movie. And I found that very interesting because it actually felt like a old-school kind of Christmas movie. And then you run into that part, and then you have the mom from the Vacation movies in this movie, which was a sweet, nice touch kind of thing. And you're dealing with this rich family, the little girl, the stuff that she does, and she's like this really sweet little girl. And then you're dealing with this other part, which is the criminal action adventure movie, but you start to catch stuff that Santa's doing that's hilarious. Just because like how he takes the milk and cookies and how he does stuff, it's hilarious. The other things he takes, because this Santa is a drinking machine, which that does play into something later. So you have the criminals, they're there for a very specific reason, dealing with something. You have the family that you go in, they're there for something, and it's a mixed family. and how they played that up. You have the sister to the the main family, and the actor with them, and the actor is funny. It's a dude that I've really liked. I don't remember his name, but he was in the movie like Never Back Down. He's been in he was in the one horror movie with who was in that horror movie? I think it was called like something like Twin or something like that. Can't remember right now. It's really early in the morning. But it stars Megan Fox, but not Jennifer's Body. It's actually another horror movie that she did. Like I said, the name is escaping me right now. So what ends up happening, like I like that guy. He actually has some pretty good comedic timing. He's actually a very good actor. I would like to see him in more stuff. You'll see him. He's the stupid, goofy boyfriend. And then you got the one son who's on like YouTube all the time and social media. And it's like these criminals want stuff from there, and it all kind of clashes. Now, you get a lot with Santa, and it's very, very funny. Just how he is. And as the movie progresses, you actually do learn about a little bit of history about who Santa is. Why Santa's able to fight, actually, so well. And there's some mystery that they don't fully solve, but it's not an unsatisfying solving. It can leave it to the it's better left unsaid, or maybe we want to do more with this later. It actually could work either way. From there, once you go through these journeys, they slowly but surely start to collide with each other. Once they collide with each other, it's like all hell breaks loose. And it's so cool because Santa has to kind of find himself again. And it's very interesting, like how to explain Christmas magic and things like this and what they're dealing with. And there's a lot to the situation at hand and why the villains have certain names and why the villains have certain names. So you start getting this Die Hard situation, and they do reference several other Christmas movies. One of the fun things is they actually reference Home Alone in one of the best ways possible. Because one thing about Home Alone that is amazing, but people don't always talk about. Because people love Home Alone 1, 2. When you get to 3, 4, and 5, not so much. I do know the newest one. I haven't seen it. I heard some people said it was okay. But it kind of harks back to the originals. That's why. Because like the oldest brother's in there. Whatever. But it actually shows you really just how bad Home Alone's hijinks are to a human. And it's great. And it is brutal. And it is fun. And I loved it. And there's just these little different interesting things that they did. And like why John Leguizamo's character hates Christmas and what they do. You would get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Like it does not hold back. But at the same time, it doesn't lose its Christmas feel. But it also has that Die Hard feeling and how things are working and how the fighting is. You find out like Santa has some issues with Mrs. Claus and all this other stuff. And the movie culminates into one of the best death scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Like it's up there with Rambo 4. No, not Rambo 4. I'm sorry, Rambo 5. Which one day I probably should cover the Rambo movies. I love the Rambo movies. But there's a scene in Rambo 5 that is one of the most visceral scenes you will see, in the sense that it was said, and then normally this is never taken literally, and they did a literal thing, and that scene just stood out to me because of it. This kind of has that scene. So that's the best overview I can give you. The kid to me wasn't annoying. The kid who does social media was annoying because everybody wants to be a social media star all the time. I only do this YouTube thing out of other people suggesting and asking me to do it. Some of them watch them, some of them don't. So always remember that. When people ask you or they say, hey, they're interested in things, sometimes it's they're only interested in the moment, not in the long run. That's a life lesson for you. So, the movie was very fun. It was just all out enjoyable. I actually watched it twice. I went back to the theaters, I think 2 days later, because I saw it on a Friday, and I saw it again on Sunday at a matinee. I really liked the movie. So if I was going to give it a rating, I would say definitely a should buy. I enjoyed it, and I actually watched it again when it came on streaming. So that's 3 times. It just was a very nice, refreshing film. And I liked it. It knew what it was. It did it. And honestly, I would like to see a sequel. No joke. I would love to see a sequel to this movie. There's some stuff that they left, some plot threads, like I said, and it was satisfying. They can leave it where it's at, like how he talks about Christmas magic and how he became like Santa and all, all this stuff, like the backstory of Santa. And it was enough that it was okay where they left it, but if they did a sequel and went into it a little more, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Because I have a wondering, but it wasn't a frustration. It didn't feel like the plot was shortened by it. It just felt like, hey, if you could give me more of this, I would love to see more of this. So that's my take. Definitely a should buy. This is the Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you.